Okay, I think we should be fine now and that everything works. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Simplify webinar. Today, special topic and special guests with us. We'll be talking about how you can use AI in process automation initiatives, or how you can find the best examples and best practices where you can apply AI into your process automation projects. So today, here with me are one of our dear friends and partners from Croatia, from the company called Best Advisory. And I think that it will be the best to give them the word to introduce themselves and tell us a bit more about themselves and their company and what do they do. So hi, guys, welcome to our webinar. And yeah, good to see you.
Hello, everybody. I'll start first to break the ice. Thank you very much, Dragan, and greetings to all of you attending today's hopefully exciting webinar. My name is Vedran Antojak, and I'm honored to be here today to share insights on how Best Advisory is helping harnessing the power of AI and automation in the process of digital business transformation as a general term. Just simply to introduce the Best Advisory. At Best Advisory, we are not AI engineers, and we make no secret of that. Instead, we take pride in being management consultants who are exceptionally skilled at bridging two very distinct worlds: the world of business needs and challenges on one side, and the world of complex AI engineering on the other side. What sets us apart is our ability to speak both of these languages, allowing us to design practical, human-centered solutions that deliver real, measurable value to organization. That's for me shortly at the very beginning, but later we'll dive deeper into the topic, what we are doing precisely. Vlaho?
Yeah, I can only confirm everything that Vedran said. I've been working with Vedran for about 7 years. I'm going to talk a bit more later. I'm going to showcase one of our cases where we used AI to automate some processes in one of our clients. But for now, I'll give Dragan the word.
Great. I didn't have to moderate a bit. You did it by yourself, so thanks. Okay, guys, thank you so much. So yeah, well, we can then start. I will just briefly go through today's agenda, aside from this introduction part. So we will briefly cover what is AI in automation, or AI automation. So how can we harness AI and how it progressed over the years when it comes to process automation. And then what I think it will be a more interesting part is these AI automation cases. So we will try to show some of our, let's say, best practices that we see currently bring the most benefit to clients when it comes to process automation, or let's say making enabling people to do some more meaningful work instead of manual things, but also how can they get through certain decision making and certain information by harnessing AI. And then, as always, at the last section, we leave out some time for Q&A. So feel free to write down questions in the comments during the webinar, and we'll be more than happy to go through all of them at the end. Okay, so AI automation, essentially what it says, it means that we are using artificial intelligence to automate certain processes. So let's say it is, again, some combination that people often use when it comes to hyper automation or intelligent automation, cognitive automation in these terms, which is combining also certain technologies such as machine learning or LLMs or NLPs into this complete solution. But here we are also using AI as the main tool, let's say. And how it impacts traditional process automation is let's say in this first of all decision making. So when it comes to traditional approach process automation, when those solutions for automation are developed, they are rule based. So We automate the process by defining clear rules how it is executed, and then we try to put that logic into that automation solution. However, with AI, we don't need to be super precise because we can use artificial intelligence to capture those patterns and kind of learn how we can make certain decision in that process and do the automation. The second thing is, again, related to that story, which is self-learning capabilities. So not only that we can, let's say, eliminate this part of precise rule-based, setup, what we can also do is continue to teach that AI model for new scenarios and new situations that come into, your business, in your products or services, that bring new data and new information and have some impact on your processes as well. So we can use AI as well to continuously learn with that data and adapt, pretty much those process steps to those new situations. So guys, maybe before we continue, do you have maybe something to add up to this part? Let's say, how do you see this whole story of development of AI in these recent years when it comes to process automation? Who's going to be the first one?
let me do the first round and give a little bit broad broad overview, and then we'll go deep into cases and Vlaho's experience in the real practice. I mean, it's all new. 2 years ago, 99% of the business people didn't know what is AI or artificial intelligence. So we are still at the very beginning of the process where AI is helping us, or could help us even more in doing the automation and actually taking over all these stupid, repetitive, very time-consuming tasks. And we hope that, although we hope that at the very beginning the process will go a little bit quicker, we see now that the process of integrating and applying the AI and automation is actually not going so fast as initially thought. But let me tell you, our experience and how we approach AI and actually integration of AI and its application in the business. This is a 3-step process, actually. The first process is where you actually a little bit play with ChatGPT or whichever generative AI tool, where you observe a little bit, people, where you learn and educate yourself about, for example, prompt engineering and stuff like that. So you are basically playing and exploring, and that is the first phase. In that phase, of course, you will, or our clients will usually spot the areas where they can do some automatization. Let me give you an example, just as with the title or use case that I mentioned. Putni nalozi or the travel receipts. It's something what is so irritating for many of people, especially managers, when they come back from the business trip, to take all these invoices and bills and put them into the system is sometimes very time-consuming process. And then they realize, that they can use a camera with a mobile phone and have a very simple integration to automate, to actually take the picture of a receipt or invoice, and the system, generative AI, would recognize who is the issuer, what is the amount, what is the VAT, and we'll put that in some sort of a table. So this is the first phase. Then some of them are moving to the second phase, which is basically something like custom GPTs, where people are doing that on the customization for their needs in the simple environment, such as custom GPTs from the ChatGPT. And this is the second phase that becomes a little bit more serious and helping the business a little bit more. when they see that there is a power behind that, and that is usually what happens, then they are moving to a little bit more sophisticated projects, RPA, or even doing their own models. What we are doing, you realize actually that you don't need ChatGPT because of many reasons, but you can do some, not LLM but SLM, for your specific needs, and then you develop that, you train that for a few months, here and there, and then at certain point you get some reliability percentage of 80-90%, where you can actually take this automation or AI/automation or whatever we call the solution, and implement it as an integral and continuous part of your business. And this is in a nutshell, how we see these developments and what are our experience in the last year and a half, as we are, the period where we are very active in this particular field. Back to you, Dragan.
Thanks. Yeah, I like that you shared a bit of that part, like a journey of people introducing themselves to AI. It's usually how most of companies started, which is this huge boom of ChatGPT that arrived. It started opening those questions, and it's a good segment also for then these next slide, which is another part of the impact that we should highlight and expand a bit more on this part. So of course, one of the major things that happened when these systems like ChatGPT or these language models showed is this data privacy concern. So many people were, let's say, looking at pretty, I would say, naive, like something that is an app that they can only use, is just for them and so on, and then started putting some company data into the tools to get the information that they would like, which is a form of security breach, and definitely something that now there are more and more talks about the regulations about AI and some specific standards that will regulate how we can use all of these tools properly and not jeopardize our company data and private data as well. Now you have crime, cyber security or cyber crime, that is expanding much further because of this technology. Second thing I would say, it's also important one, which is impact on the labor market. So I think that in a few years, just like we had cases where English language was something that was mandatory for people to know in their work, or using the Office package from Microsoft as a mandatory thing to use and have as knowledge. I think that usage of AI tools or these ChatGPT at least, or some knowledge about AI, will become something impairment, because it is definitely something that will transfer how people are working currently. We already have, of course, some cases from some leading companies, of course, and tech companies that are having some great, let's say, upskilling and training paths for people to use AI as much as possible in their work. So that's something that's also going to be an important topic for companies that want to, strategically, develop and stay relevant on the market. So Vedran, can you maybe share some of these 2 points?
Yes, sorry, Dragan, and to make this a little bit more lively, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but it's interesting what you're saying, because you said that in the future terms, as a future tense, but it's happening now. For example, Deloitte is requires from their new candidates for the consulting and above positions to have understanding and skills in using the generative AI tools. The same is happening with the McKinsey, with the BCG, Bain, and all these, consulting companies, because they realized from their own example. And this is that both McKinsey and BCG, as a premium consultants, realized in their internal, usage of AI is bringing something between 25 to 35% of increase in productivity, which is huge. It means 1/3 of our time we could spend on something else, more interesting tasks, or we can have a beer whatever the organization would allow us. But it's one of the rare moments in the recent history where such opportunity for the productivity increase is basically present on the market. You just have to adjust it and to use it. That's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, I remember one on some of the podcast interviews, somebody said that AI is looked as one of these big changes, such as car, appearance of a car or something like that, like some huge, let's say, industrial revolution that maybe we can call it. But definitely it is something that will change the perspective of people and how they can spend their time in work and outside of work as well. So definitely something that is having a great impact on everyone. On these second two topics or points are considered again like something that can propose a challenge to companies. One would be transparency of this information. So usually some of these systems where you use let's say deep learning techniques or some neural networks, of course they can create some black boxes in terms of that. Sometimes those processes can be complex and difficult to interpret. So that is something, that lack of transparency can be challenging, to understanding, some of the processes. And, similar to this part of implementation challenges. So again, as you said, that is why I said I liked how you showed some journey, how companies can start and how I think should start, which is some small cases and kind of try to brainstorm and then see, where are the elements where they can, apply AI in more complex processes, because of course these type of projects are definitely more complex. They require a lot of skills and expertise from different areas, like I said, not just for the part of technology itself, but also for processes, for governance, for security, and so on. So yeah, okay. So now I think we can move to these examples that we were talking about, or some useful use cases, how you can use AI. So I tried to, let's say, give these three different examples to kind of show in which parts and how AI could be used. So one of the topics is this part of process mining. So, or I would say maybe process analysis and process discovery and process automation, analysis. So usually how people go with these process automation projects is that they will require some analysis. So a business analyst would come, they would look at the process with the people who perform that process, do the shadowing sessions, some workshops, collect this information from them. And basically after that, they will provide some, of course, conclusions, whether this process has the potential to be automated, to which degree, and what could be the potential, savings, as well as the ideas for solution design. And then after that, companies make decision whether to move forward to the development and implementation or to discard that process. So using AI in this part with some task mining and process mining tools is something where you have a tool that pretty much collects all of the information about your process execution. So it captures all of the process steps, all of the process variations, the metrics about the process, how long you were spending some time on sending an email or spending some time in your ERP system or correcting some formulas in Excel and so on. And basically gives you some insights on where are the possibilities to standardize your process. That is also something that is a very relevant topic for companies that are bigger, of course, and have multiple people working on the same process. We often saw a lot of cases where you have a company that operates in multiple, let's say, countries, and then each region performs the same process, but in a different way. And then this tool can give you, with the power of also AI, the best practice, which process is the best one to be a standard for everyone. It can give you also information about the inefficiencies in your process, potential savings that you can use, automation opportunities, and so on. So we will have, let's say, a separate webinar, where we will deep dive into these things. Now we just wanted to, let's say, present them as an idea. The second one is this. We called it internal knowledge base. One of the things that we are currently working on, we again seen it as a big need from a lot of different companies, because we as process analysts, and when we talk about processes, usually when we ask for documentation or some procedures, usually we get the answers that they don't exist, they are not updated, or they're too difficult to read, too boring, and so on. And people are really struggling to find the right information when they need it. You also have situations where somebody new comes to the company, and you encounter some new situation in their work. They don't find it in the procedures, they don't know how to resolve it, and then of course what do? They write emails, they call people, they chat to them through Teams or Skype or some other tools, trying to find the answer. And then if that person is on a sick leave or something, then they're in a bad situation. So here, how you can use AI is pretty much to help and have, let's say, a helper that can find you the information that you need from all of that messy data that you have. So instead of, let's say, going through all of these procedures and documentation and trying to update them, trying to find all of the relevant information, structure it, do it again all by your personal efforts, you can use AI to essentially put the documentation that you have, the knowledge that you have, and then AI, based on your simple prompt, question that you need for a certain situation, it can return you and give you the answer what to do in, again, some natural form, how people usually talk. So that is something that can also be a great help for this everyday work. And then the third one is these AI chatbots. So chatbots are something that have been around for quite a while now, but they were, let's say, pretty basic. Let's say from the start, you would usually have a pop-up of that chatbot and just select the questions that are maybe predefined and get some answer. But at least from my experience and what we heard from other clients is that usually they don't rely on that before, they were not able to get the support that they would need. And usually it would, lead to that support agent or analyst or whoever it is on the end that would engage with the client. But now with the AI, this can also help, where you can, with some easy, simple questions, get some easy, simple answers, and actually get the help through these chatbots. And here, I would like to now give the word to Vedran and Vlaho, since they prepared us a case that covers this topic exactly. So I would give the floor to them now to share us what did they, prepare for us.
Vlaho, you are invisible. Make yourself visible and take it over.
Yeah, Vlaho, here, the floor is yours.
Okay. You can hear me, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, so this is a case that's happening right now. We finished the majority.
We have a little bit disconnect from Vlaho, but so he's reconnecting while we are waiting. Just to give a couple of maybe for you interesting comments. When you were talking about the AI chatbots, I think we are now in the actually period of AI actually chatbot renaissance. Where AI is basically bringing the chatbots to some new levels. And yes, it's boring to type text and so on. And I see also from the customers as well as client that this is not the optimal way of communication. But you know what is happening? What is actually speeding up in its development are so-called AI voice bots. And these are we are testing some of them for the past 4 weeks. No, actually more, maybe 2 months. And there are some beautiful solutions. And I'm not talking about English language, because there are already voice bots which are very capable and very hard to recognize that you are talking with the AI, not with the person. But now for our languages, for Slavic languages like Serbian, Croatian, Bosnian, people or companies started to develop very, very, very good and which are better and better voice bots. And when we put that in the context of automatization, these voice bots could be used, for example, to call your clients that they missed the last few payments to you. So you give the database, you create the script, you train the voice bot, and it could really take the role of the money collector, as we said, or somebody who will call the clients and remind them that that their payment is due. So this is changing a little bit, and that was my point. But I see Vlaho is here, so Vlaho, floor is yours.
Okay, we managed. So this is a case in one of our clients. It was an e-invoicing company that gives out to clients e-invoicing services, and they had a problem. Which problem is it's a good problem to have, which is that they had too many inbound sales calls from potential customers. As e-invoicing is becoming mandatory in Croatia, both in B2G and B2B segments, everybody is looking for e-invoicing providers. They're the largest and probably one of the best e-invoicing providers in Croatia. So they had sales agents which would solve all inbound sales calls, and they would solve all support questions. They didn't have enough time to focus solely on sales, and they had to redirect sales to sales agents and solve support tickets by themselves. It cost a lot of money, it cost a lot of time, and it was a terrible user experience for people because it was really slow. And nobody wants to, be on the phone and wait for someone to answer. And then when they answer, they just try to get you off the phone. It's not a great experience. And so they came to us with that problem. What we did was we implemented an AI and RPA-powered chatbot, which was able to handle all inbound sales requests and all inbound support questions. Support questions that were easy to solve, that happened before, it would solve by itself. And the new ones, some things that never happened before, it would be sent to agents. But on the other side, on the sales side, the chatbot was able to talk to you, get everything you need, get all the information from you, and then they would generate a custom-made offer and send it directly to the client. And it would not only send it through the chat, it would also send it to an email or to WhatsApp or wherever you want it. So basically, you would talk to a chatbot and you would get a custom-made offer just for your company based on that conversation. How we did it? Well, we connected a few things. The first thing you need to do and what you need to remember in projects like this is AI is only as smart as the data it works on. So we had to collect all the data from the company. We had to structure it into a machine learning database, which is actually that a chatbot can actually read and make decisions based on. After we did that, we used the API from OpenAI, and we used their chatbot, trained it, and teach it everything about the company. And the final step was to connect it to the RPA, which would be connected to Outlook, and which would send the custom-made offers back to the client. All of this took us around 3 months, but the majority of the project was actually the data collection and the data structuring. So if you already have structured data and all the information in one place, these projects can maybe last 1 month tops. So the more data you have, the better it's structured, the faster you will be able to create AI for your own company. I thought someone had a question. So how we did it, it's important to focus, and as I said, It's also important to remember that AI or RPA only works if it makes the processes easier for the users. So what we focused was on simplicity, communication, and cost reduction. When we say simplicity, we wanted the user experience of someone who wants to buy your product or service. It needs to be extremely simple. So they open a chat and they just write what they want and they get a custom-made offer back to them. As far as communication go, we focus that the communication looks natural. So when you talk to a chatbot, and that happened a few times actually, people asked the chatbot out, people wanted to go to have a beer with it. People didn't even realize they were talking to AI. They thought they were talking to a human. And at the end of the day, we also focused on cost reduction on the company side, and we actually had some huge cost reduction results. I'll show them on the next slide. But I also wanted to once again acknowledge that is AI plug and play for every company? It is plug and play basically if you have the data and if you have all the information in one place. So the majority of AI projects from consultant sides and developer sides is that those solutions are already ready and already on the market, but they only work if you have a lot of information that is structured and handled in a way that works with AI. So you will have to give a lot of effort to actually have that data and prepare it for the AI. So what were the results of the project? Well, firstly, sales agents are now focused only on outbound sales. So all inbound sales are handled by AI and sales agents are able to call other potential clients. So if you want to be their client without them calling you, you will be handled exclusively through AI and you won't even be able to notice it. Support agents are now focused only on complex tickets. So all easy solutions or easy problems are solved by AI and they're solved extremely fast. AI works, in seconds and it's a lot faster than you actually have to talk to any human from the company. And at the end of the day, time to handle inbound sales was used to be 1 day. Now it is within 1 hour. So as I said, and as Vedran said, and Dragan said, AI is extremely fast. And now all inbound sales are turned into custom-made offers for clients within 1 hour. Usually it was 1 day, maybe even longer if you call them at 4 p.m. and everybody goes off work at 5. And as you can see at the top of the slide, we actually had huge reductions in FTEs, full-time employee hours, but no one was fired because they actually had to do work that was more valuable to the company. All of those simple tasks, stupid jobs that Vedran said, like handling simple sales calls or simple customer support calls are now done by AI. And at the end of the day, this is the quote from their CEO that said, this chatbot is more knowledgeable and faster than any sales or support agent they have in the company. And some agents work there upwards of 10 years. So this was a huge advancement. And just for the end, the next steps. So we are working now, as Vedran mentioned, on a voice bot. So all those machine learning that we created will now be not only handled through chat, but also through voice. So our AI will be able to call people and offer them their products or services, and additionally, based on the feedback from the call, create new custom-made offers. So here, I hope you understood everything. I tried to make it as simple as possible. And if you want any longer version of this presentation or any data, you can feel free to hit me up or LinkedIn or anywhere else.
Yeah, thank you, Lahu, so much. I really like the case, and especially the part of the next step, which is also covering the calls and everything through AI. On one of the conferences, I actually saw an example where AI did a full call as a customer support for the person that lost its credit card, and pretty much it sounded like normal as a person, and they were able to, the person was able to explain like which card, the card number, what was the location of that ATM that swallowed the card, and so on. And the AI model was able to, or that voice assistant was able to, let's say, send him the necessary information, when and how he can collect his new card. So it's a really, really good example.
Yeah, it's really advanced, and probably the number one problem we're facing right now, it's not the technical segments of the calls, it's not the information or the data, it's just to make it sound natural. So
Hmm.
anything that a human can do as far as calls or chats go, AI can do also, but we just need to fine tune it to make it sound like it's a human on the other side, because nobody
Exactly.
likes to talk to a robot or an
Yeah.
automated agent. So as soon as we make it sound natural, it's probably ready to go.
Awesome, awesome. So I actually have two questions based on your story. I really like that you mentioned these things, so I would just like to maybe expand on them a bit. So one thing that you said, and that's how we explain to people when they ask us about implementation of AI. We say to them it's pretty much same as like process automation. If you don't have good and structured processes, your automation won't work or won't be stable or won't last on the long run. And so if you have good processes, pretty much the development of the solution is quick. So you said the similar thing, and that's what we always say: if your data is not good, you won't have let's say a good AI solution. So can you maybe give us a bit more detail about that part? Structuring the data, how that looks like. Is it similar to, let's say, structuring a business process? Do you, let's say, decompose that data or data flow, let's say, as a process flow and kind of show it to that? Or how do you work with your clients towards structuring the data and preparing it for that AI solution?
So from the client side, it's pretty much if they have everything written down, it's really easy for them. They just need to send us all the information. But the problem kind of arises from the client side of the perspective, where a lot of the data and information is kind of word to mouth. So especially
Mm-hmm.
in some like customers calls and sales, nobody write these things down. It's everybody has their own way of thinking. Everybody has their own way of handling sales. So those things need to be systemized, and we need to find a consensus on the company side. What's the best way to do it? We had some things in sales where one sales agent says this is the best way to do it, some other one says this is the best way to do it. So we need to find some consensus and say this is how we're going to do sales, or this is how we're going to take care of customer support, and then we put that data into the machine learning and chatbot. As far as from our side, yes, you need to decompose the data a bit. You need to kind of spread it out, and you need to remove, let's say, all the duplication of data, and you need to remove all information that kind of crosses paths with each other. Because oftentimes, when you take a lot of documentation from companies, some things change over time, and if you have, let's say, one process that changed over time, but it's written down twice, it's gonna confuse the AI. So we have to, scrutinize every piece of data we have, but it's not that complex, and we also use AI to do it. So we use AI to create AI, which is great.
Yeah, great, great. I mean, yeah, essentially it's similar to again, it depends on your processes. Defining a good process provides again a good data, and then you just fine tune it and develop the solution. So that's great. So Vedran, maybe something to add before I move to my second question.
Yes, I mean, in addition to that, what Vlaho presented, I would like also to add, coming back to the second phase of the AI integration process in a company, irrespective from the size or location. It's basically you can learn a lot as a company by using maybe the how this called RAG or retrieval augmented what is the name generation, which is basically in simple words, you take the generative AI tool such as ChatGPT and you add information that specific for your organization, to put it on the simple terms. On that way, you are using intelligence of generative AI tools such as ChatGPT, but you are filling this intelligence with your own company data. And it is very, how do you say, it's not such a complex process. Of course, you will not get the super trooper AI solution out of that, but it could help you in a number of different tasks, specialized to your needs and tailored with your information. So that is something what I would recommend everyone who is considering how to, evolve in the using the AI and integrating the AI in business, to start with the RAG process, and try to sense and experiment what is important and what's not, and it will be sufficient for the most of the business tasks that is required in a normal business of the small and medium-sized companies.
Yep. I totally agree. And actually, it's related to my second question, but now not so much about technology, but actually people. So Vlaho mentioned that none of the people were replaced by AI. They were actually enabled to do something more meaningful and impactful for the company. And what I wanted to ask you is that how do you support companies in that transition, especially you have some companies, of course, with people from a bit older generation, that is where AI is science fiction to them. So you have, let's say, a bigger resistance maybe in changing some of the things in how they work. So how do you support companies in that transition? I know that you do also education in these fields. So how do you combine it to, let's say, make this whole AI journey to companies, as least painful as possible?
So I would say the best way and to make it as less painful is to explain that AI will not replace people. People who know AI will replace people who don't know AI. I look at AI as Excel. I've never heard of an accountant to get fired, to get replaced by Excel. But today, there's not a single accountant in the world that doesn't know how to use Excel. And I think it's going to be the same thing with AI. In the same way that today you don't write on the CV that you know how to use Microsoft Office and etc. because everybody knows how to use it. It's basically decent literacy. And I think in 5 to 10 years it's going to be the same thing with AI. And I think what's really interesting is that we had a few AI projects for now, and we've never had that problem where we need to actually explain it to people. I think people are really aware that AI is very important, and it's not going to replace people, but it's going to replace tasks, and it's going to change the way people work. And I think people are really receptive of AI because you can, very quickly you realize the importance of it and how much it makes your job easier.
I think what's great benefit with AI is that now you can get the support from technology, but in a natural language, let's say in a natural, expression of like how a person would talk to you. Like before, maybe when some great solutions came in place, usually they required some experts to understand them, and then it was deployed towards the company as, let's say, some instruction like, this is how you will now work this on this process. And that is why usually people were a bit scared and uncertain because they do not know how this works or whether they completed something or not. They didn't get the feedback and so on. But now, finally, we can introduce these very sophisticated technologies and complex technologies, but explain it to people in simple terms. And again, with the support of AI, I also like that you said that you use AI in your AI project. So that's the whole point. And as you said, it's definitely something that's going to help us in our everyday work, at least, on these boring manual things. I think it opens this part of creativity, which is, I think, important for companies to develop. So definitely, at least we hope it's going to move in that good direction.
Yeah, but still, let me just add one thing. Yes, people that are open-minded will accept that, but we have a vast majority of the people which are not on the top positions, but below that, a mid-level and actually below that, that are still scared because they still think about, Terminator, iRobot, and everybody else. Because more than 90% of all movies about AI, that at the end of the movie, the AI, kills the humanity
apocalyptic.
and takes people, to be a batteries for the AI. And this perception is in the people, in the folk, in everybody. And we have to, or their managers have to invest a lot in AI education in order to break these barriers and let people, use the AI. Just one thing, I remember my aunt, I don't know, 30 years ago, she was working at the bank and they were introducing the computers. She was crying for 3 weeks because she didn't know what to do with that. And then at the end of these 3 weeks, she resigned because she was afraid of computers. We are looking today similar reactions from many people, actually.
Yep. I mean, like I said, from any change is let's say difficult. So especially, like I said, for people that they've been doing something for 15, 20 years the same way, and then you show up and say, now you don't even have to do it or something. There's always that fear of losing your job, or what is this change, what do I need to now learn? It's very difficult. So yeah, I think it's a very important part to keep people involved from the start, as you said, like try to educate them, try to keep them involved also in these suggestions how something could work. They have that experience and that knowledge, and once you break kind of that barrier of resistance, they're open to then discuss ideas. We oftentimes in our projects, when we talk about process optimization in general, process improvement, we had some of the suggestions that we implemented are the ones that were given by the people who actually do those processes. So definitely a big part of this transition is to keep people involved in these changes. Okay, guys, so I was checking and we didn't got any questions so far. So I think it is okay to close the webinar. And if people, let's say, if somebody writes down some questions, of course, we can always reach out to you later on and give you some answers. So I would like to thank you, Vedran and Vlaho, really for this case. I think it was very beneficial for people to see how some things can be solved with AI and with actual results and an actual real example that's working somewhere. So people don't fear that it always needs to be some huge project and it's always very complex. I really like that you showed that it lasted like for 3 months. So feel free, of course, to reach out to us in DMs, or you'll have our contacts in the webinar details. Guys, maybe anything to add before we close out?
I would just like to add that the AI in business is not an option. It's something that is coming slowly but surely and speeding up, of course. If you want to stay relevant, both as an expert as well as an organization, you have to have knowledge and develop skills about AI and automation. Otherwise, it would be like having a business without using the Microsoft Office or Google Sheets or any else, and using the pencil and the paper for everything what you do in your business. So if you want to die that way, I'm okay with that. But sure, if you want to be a relevant player in your market, in your industry, in your niche, you have to learn about AI and how can AI help you to be a better man, better woman, or better organization.
I think that is a great way to close the webinar. Not much to add there. I totally agree with you. It's already there. The technology is already here. It's already been using. So it's now just for the people and companies to decide whether they want to get involved or time or as you said, maybe even disappear like some companies that didn't want to switch to those new approaches and technologies. Okay, so thank you guys, and thank you for your time, and hopefully we will see each other on some new webinars in next year. Yeah.
We enjoyed. Thank you, Dragan.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.